And even if we all droids, I'm R2. My haters get lightsabers, salam through. I'm a beast on beast, just like Hans Wu. I mean Wookie, sorry, but I be tripping, yo.
Welcome back. I know you just saw our faces, but we're back again. This is the G2 podcast.
Yep.
The G to the second power and
Yep.
G squared. I'm with Sir.
No, it's you first.
No, I'm going with this is the opposite now. You're going next.
Oh, it's opposite day. I like opposite day. I am Jay Gonzalez, aka He Who Pods.
And I am M. Gonzalez.
All right, what we talking about today?
So now we are talking about Flash, the movie, starring Ezra Miller,
Yep.
as we all know.
Yep.
So, would you like to go first, or do you like me to go first?
It's up to you, player.
Can I go first?
Go for it.
So, Flash is this version of Flash. Well, okay. Flash is played by Ezra Miller, who is in Justice League and a lot of the other movies.
Not really.
Just that and that was it. Is he in Batman vs Superman?
Nope.
All right,
Justice League.
He's in Justice League. He is part of the Jack Snyderverse, I guess.
Zach.
The Zack
You said Jack.
Snyderverse. Sorry.
Yeah, he's part of what's known as the Snyderverse because Zack Snyder was directing for DC and he was leading the way for DC for a few years. And so he is who introduced Ezra Miller into the DC film universe. Now that is called the Snyderverse. That's usually how it's referred to. When HBO Max first launched their app, yeah, I know we spoke about the Snyder cut of Justice League that came out. He was in that. Did he make a cameo in anything else?
He made a cameo in the Flash.
He makes a cameo in. No, I mean in the movies. Yeah, in the Flash TV show, he made a cameo. He did a cameo in Suicide Squad 1. Yep. You don't remember? Yeah. When they capture Captain Boomerang. They show him capturing Captain Boomerang. Yeah. And that's it. And so now, finally, a Flash movie has come out. Ezra Miller is the star.
I don't know what else to say.
Thoughts on the movie?
Well, I didn't like this movie a lot.
What? Yo, you be saying one thing when we see stuff and a total another thing when the cameras come on.
Wait, can I explain?
You can.
It was a good film, but there were certain parts I did not like. So it's like iffy for me because I didn't like some parts, but then the rest of it was good. I felt like the whole him being with the other version of him from the planet where his parents are alive is totally just weird and wacky because I messed up the entire timeline and the space-time continuum. They look at me.
Very good.
Thank you. And it messes up the whole space-time continuum and what we learned about how like you're not supposed to, if you see the other version of yourself, you're supposed to run away or like not interact with them. We learned this in Flash, and we see a little bit of it in the Young Justice when they mention how Bart is not supposed to be there and how it messes up the space-time continuum. But he doesn't see any version of himself because he is from the future. But we do see him having a lot of interactions with himself. He basically is with himself the entire time.
Yep.
Which is totally messed up the space-time continuum. And then when he's running, he sees older version of him who's stuck in that bubble realm, I'm going to call it, because I don't know what it's called. Speed Force?
No, they call it something else. Look it up.
The chronosphere, and we see that basically he's been trapped there. And yeah. Overall, it was a good film. I thought some parts were better than others. Actually, I thought sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to mess with my foot. Most parts are better than others, in my opinion. I did not like a few parts, but I did like most of it.
Okay, what didn't you like? Tell us. Tell them.
What did I like? I didn't like when they kept going back to try and save Supergirl and Batman, and then they both ended up dying either way. I thought that was a waste of potential. And then I didn't like the whole fighting between each other when they were in the chronosphere.
Okay.
And then I didn't like old Barry stuck in the chronosphere. Um, Other than that, I liked the rest of the movie. I thought it was a great film. I liked Supergirl. I thought she was cool to see, and we kind of had like a like a little throwback moment to like when we first see Zod in the other movie with Superman, and how we kind of get to see that in this world, Superman does not exist because Superman was killed as a baby to try and make this thing that didn't really need his blood. It was the other, it was Kara and not Kara. Is her name Kara?
Yeah.
Oh, Kara, and then it was great. It was great. It was fantastic. Right? Did I like Zod? No. No, not Zod. What's the girl's name? His wife or something. I don't know.
Oh, I think it's Ursula.
All right. Well, whatever her name is, I ain't like her. I ain't like her. She was whack. She was all out of whack, and she wasn't really needed, in my opinion. She was just there to watch. She didn't really fight much, and when she did, it was really, it was a lot of the guards and not really her. But yeah, other than that, I have nothing much to say.
Okay, and you got to see Michael Keaton be Batman again.
Yeah, my guy. Even though I like, it's Christopher Nolan, right? The one in the Dark Knight series.
Christopher Nolan is the director. Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Christian Bale is my guy. I like Christian Bale. Michael Keaton's up there too. Those are my two favorite Batmans. I like them a lot. It was great. It was fantastic. When I saw him, I was very excited. It reminded me of it brought me back to the old Batman movies and Penguin and Catwoman.
That's right.
It was great. It was fantastic. Yes, it was great. Okay. That's all I have to say.
And what did you think about the ending?
What's the ending?
When Barry's father is freed and Barry goes outside and tries to explain everything to Bruce.
Yeah,
Bruce says, "I'm pulling up."
First of all, I don't know what actor it is.
That was George. Excuse me.
Oh.
Excusez-moi. That was George Clooney. He was Batman in a couple of movies that you have yet to see because they were.
Listen, I've seen his face, don't know his name. Now I know his name, but I ain't like him. I need just for that. I needed Ben Affleck. After that, he can get a rest. He can go. He can go back to not wanting to be Batman. I don't care. But that was whack. I ain't like it.
Okay.
He reminded me of really rich Batman, like super super rich. Like he don't got to do nothing rich. I know, but it was more than ever, and I didn't like it. He had this like vibe to him that was like, I don't know.
But I'm saying, what do you think about it being that Barry tried to change all of this stuff, and
He should have just listened to Bruce.
And in the end, he still ruined everything.
It's like in the Flash TV show where he basically had to go back to when he was gonna go back to fix the things and stop himself. I feel like that was what was gonna. I think that was what was needed. But in the end, I felt that it was basically what we learned in Flash and other stuff, that once you go back, you change everything and nothing goes back to the way it was. But other than that, it was a solid film. And I liked that he got to learn his lesson, because clearly, even though it happens to every Flash, they don't learn. They don't learn. It happened to Barry. It happened to, did it happen to Jay? I think it happened to Jay. No, did it?
I mean, it happened to a bunch of Barrys.
It happened to a bunch of berries, is my point.
It happens to Barry in everything you watch. That's what you mean to say.
Yeah. But he still don't learn. Man, I think he needs some memory.
Oh no, he don't need memory pills. He didn't forget. He didn't listen.
Yeah. Alright. Tap you in.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
so a couple things. Number one, contact is walling out. First and foremost, I think a lot of people are stuck on the box office numbers of this film. It did not do well. It flopped, as they say. Now, that's fine, whatever. I don't really care about the numbers part. What I care about is the film. And I think this film's box office numbers were hurt greatly by the fact that Ezra Miller was Flash. Because as we all know, there's a lot of legal problems going on with Ezra Miller. And it didn't help, Ness, I know you're watching, and this upset Ness. It didn't help that the director of the Flash film publicly said Ezra Miller did so good playing both these different versions of Flash that you guys are going to forget about all the bad stuff he did in real life. What a doofus. Should have just shut your mouth.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah. So now that affected the way people received the film. People, including our guy Ness, did not want to see the film in theaters because they didn't want to support this situation. Now let's talk about the film itself. Well, the film itself is a remix of the very famous story Flashpoint Paradox. That is when the Flash goes back in time to save his mother from dying. And that changes lots and lots of stuff. It's also what DC used to restart their comic books at one point, which is why they were using it to restart the movies. As we all know, James Gunn is now in charge of DC. There's a whole lot of new stuff coming. This is the reset button for that. This is the way of completely saying goodbye to the Snyderverse and hello to whatever comes next. Cool. But the problem is you did Flashpoint, but you didn't do Flashpoint.
Right.
I like this movie. The changes were a little weird. Instead of Superman, you use Supergirl. I'm cool with that. You kept that part pretty much the same. Instead of having Reverse Flash be in this movie, you don't have any Reverse Flash, even though the director confirmed that Reverse Flash is who killed Barry's mom. We never see Reverse Flash. Okay? We see this other Barry instead. Dark Flash, they're calling it. And so we see the birth of Dark Flash. But we don't even know he's Dark Flash. There really is no bad guy in this movie until later on, because Zod is not the real bad guy. So what do? They take the first movie from the Snyderverse and they bring it to today. And so they say that in Man of Steel, when Zod came to Earth looking for Superman and the things that he needed to get from Superman's blood, he was going to destroy the world and make it into Krypton. And that's what's happening here, except it's Supergirl. And there's no Ben Affleck Batman and no Justice League, none of those people. Instead, the only person here is Michael Keaton, Batman. And so this is truly a whole new timeline that Barry ran to. He, in fact, did not run to the past. He ran to a different part of the multiverse, not knowing that. And so in this timeline, or in this part of the multiverse, however you want to look at it, it's kind of like similar but adjacent, because the characters are different. The people are different in some ways, and some ways they're not. Some things are very different. Some things are absolutely the same. But there were some very cool moments. We get to see Dark Flash using his powers. We get to learn a lot about Barry, how Barry used his powers, how Barry tried to save people during the events of Man of Steel, which is the first movie of the Snyderverse, as I said. There were a lot of cool moments, right? Barry lost his powers. He had to regain his powers. That's straight from Flashpoint Paradox. I think they did themselves a disservice not having any Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash is one of the main characters of Flashpoint Paradox. That was not good to not have him. A lot of us thought this other Barry would somehow be their Reverse Flash in that timeline, but there wasn't one. Uh, the way they represented time and the timeline in this chronosphere dome area, it was a little weird, but it made sense, so I wasn't mad at it. I think there are better ways of representing what the Flash sees when he's traveling time and traveling different parts of the multiverse. Um, the theme of the movie was trying to fix your past mistakes, which really you can't do, which really is you have to accept what's happened and move forward. It takes Barry the whole movie, it takes the Flash the whole movie to learn this lesson. And by the time he tries to fix it, everything is messed up. And so that was interesting seeing that play out, seeing his own younger, stubborn self not learning that lesson and actually teaching him that lesson in the end. Michael Keaton did a great job, but that's no surprise. Michael Keaton is a great actor. It was cool seeing him as Batman kicking their butts and saying all his catchphrases. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And so that was cool. The young lady, I don't know the actress's name, but she did a good job being Supergirl. That was really cool. I didn't need the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman cameo. It was weird that they kept that, but didn't keep the Henry Cavill one and the other ones that they had. I don't really understand why that was there. Um, the scene with the babies and him catching everything in the beginning and slowing down time, us seeing how Barry sees time, that was cool. I don't have any issues with that. I know that's like a famous scene now. That was cool. Always happy to see my man Zod. I know M wasn't too happy with him, but I'm always happy to see him be Zod.
I mean, I
And
don't have a
seeing him
problem with
kill,
him.
Shank Supergirl like 100 times. That was fly. I like that part. He kills Supergirl, and we keep seeing it happen over and over and over again because they keep running back time and 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 running back time. And so, yeah, that was cool seeing him die all those times. And seeing Michael Keaton die a bunch of different ways was kind of messed up, but also kind of cool. Um, I know a lot of people have issues with the way that they try to pay homage to all of the other actors and all of the different quote unquote multiverse pieces. I understand there's a lot of different things that people feel about it. I don't really feel one way or the other. I think it's weird that they mostly focused on super older actors, like the world's introduction to these characters. I feel like if you was going to show the multiverse and everyone who's played these characters, and show everyone, and they didn't do that, and that was weird. I thought the twist at the end was cool, but once his dad took the tomatoes off the top shelf, I knew something was wrong because in the movie, when he fixes everything and resets it back to normal, he doesn't put it on the top shelf. He puts it on the bottom where it belongs and where his dad would have got it. So I thought that was an interesting twist. Uh, seeing George Clooney come out was funny. That was cool. I thought so anyway. I didn't like the end credit scene. Seeing Jason Momoa was cool, whatever. We know he's going to continue to be Aquaman. And you said, "Oh, I saw every different version of the multiverse, and in all of them, you were Aquaman. Isn't that weird? There was a different Bruce and a different this person. I mean, it's fine, but I don't think that was really necessary. I didn't care for it. Um, yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I really liked the scenes. Probably my favorite parts of the movie besides what I just mentioned of them like killing Supergirl and Batman being around. Another good part was when they see new Barry or Dark Flash get his powers and cause a ruckus and and phasing and all this stuff. But I will say one downside of that was he learned everything way too fast. Stuff that took the original Flash years and years and years to learn. This kid was getting like this. And so that was weird. I didn't like that part. He learned way too fast, and it's supposed to be the same guy. I know that he's coaching himself, and the original guy had no one to coach him, but even then, he still learned things way too fast. And so I think that was bad. But overall, the movie was good. It was fun. I've seen it twice. I'd watch it again. Um, yeah, I mean, there are complaints that people feel they should not have just kept reusing the events from Man of Steel. Well, I hear you, but they're doing Flashpoint. And to do Flashpoint and make it relatable to the audience watching it, they don't know any of the stuff that happened in Flashpoint. Like, in Flashpoint for real, like in the comics and even in the really good animated movie, there's a war going on between Aquaman's people and Wonder Woman's people because they had an affair, and Wonder Woman kills Aquaman's wife, which is the Queen of Atlantis, and so all hell breaks loose. But they don't have any of that. Aquaman doesn't have a wife in the Zack Snyder universe, and it would just be like this weird story that wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I understand people wanting them to do more of what the comic did, but I don't know how they would have done that. People would have probably just been super confused, or the audience would have just had to accept this completely different universe. I think they were trying to make it familiar so there wouldn't be so much backlash and hesitance. And so I get it. The film was cool. The film was fun. Was it amazing? No. Was it the best thing ever? No. But it was cool. And I'm glad that they closed that chapter of DC and we begin to move on to the next chapter of DC. I care less about how this ended and more about what DC does next. And really, that's what I got. It was a remix of Flashpoint, so I didn't have high expectations because I know Flashpoint, and I knew they were not going to do an accurate depiction. Excuse me, an accurate depiction of Flashpoint. So we got what we got, and it was cool. I'm a little disappointed. It would have been awesome to see an actual just Flash movie, not Flashpoint Paradox. And hopefully at some point they do a legit Flash movie. That's what I hope. Um, and that's really all I got. How about you? Anything else? All right, ladies and germs, we out of here. We was
Wait a minute.
no. Never heard that before? No?
I have, but I didn't expect you to say it. You called me up. I was like, ladies and germs.
That's what I like to do, ladies and germs, while I have my germ colored shirt on. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we're out. We'll see y'all soon. Peace out.